Okay, hello economics students. So in this video, let's put demand and supply together. And of course, when we do that, we call it the market. From here on out, we're always going to be looking at demand and supply together. We're going to be looking at markets all the time. And what we really need to be able to do in this particular dot point is to show or explain what happens to the equilibrium price and the equilibrium quantity traded given a change in demand, e.g. a shift to the right or a shift to the left, or a change in supply, a shift to the right or a shift to the left. Now we know what causes a shift in the supply curve and a shift in the demand curve from previous videos where we looked at demand and supply factors. So there's a new word here which is equilibrium. Now equilibrium means when the market is in a state of rest. Well, what does that really mean? It means that consumers and businesses are happy with the price and the quantity traded at that particular point in time. Of course, things will change, but at that particular time, they're both happy. And what that means is there's no shortage and there's no surplus. Those two terms, shortages and surpluses, are very important. We'll come back to them in a separate video. We'll have to do a separate video just for them. Basically, suppliers are happy, consumers are happy. There's no pressure to change for now. Now let's look at demand and supply together on our demand and supply graph. Firstly, we need to check just that we've got it right. So supply is upward sloping, and that's because of the law of supply, where if prices increase here on the y-axis, there'd be an increase in quantity traded. Yes, supply is sloping the right way, or supply is the right curve. Demand needs to be sloping downwards. Yes, that's sloping downwards, and that's because as prices decrease, quantity demanded will increase. Perfect, we've got it right. Now what we do now to find equilibrium, and what is equilibrium? It is the point at which the demand and supply curve intersect, so right here. And what we're going to do is just trace a line across to work out the market quantity or the quantity traded. And then we trace a line across to the y-axis, and that shows us our price, our theoretical price here, and our theoretical quantity traded given demand and supply in this market. Okay. Now, sometimes you might be given dollar terms and quantities, like real quantities, might be 300,000 at $2, right? But for now, it's just theoretical. We just label it P and Q, and then we label the intersection equilibrium, which shows us our equilibrium quantity, our equilibrium price. Now, like I said at the start, what we need to be able to do is to show what happens on the Y and X axes given a change in supply or demand. Let's look at an example. So again, we're going to label Q, and we're going to label P, and we're going to label S and D and E. And the reason we do that is if when we change something, we then label it again, which I'll show you in a second. So there's a shift in the supply curve to the right. Maybe there's an improvement in productivity or a decrease in cost of production. And we're going to label this S1. Okay, so from S to S1. Now from here on out, we're going to label everything the same, E, P, Q. We're just going to label it E1, P1, and Q1. Okay, so we need to find out what happens to price first. And we've got a new intersection point here on the new supply curve. So we could almost whiten this supply curve out. We can almost get rid of this. We don't care about this anymore because our new price is over here. And we're going to call that P1. And our new quantity is going to be down here, and we're going to call that Q1. Now what we need to be able to do is to show that, well, because we start at 0 here on the Y and X axis, this is a decrease in price, and this is an increase in quantity traded. And our new equilibrium point is there. I hope I've labeled that because that should be E1 as well. Yes, E1 there. Okay, so we need to be able to do that if there's a shift in the left or the right for demand and supply, and I'm sure you could do that. Bye for now.